Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel again. Chad Young here with Paycheck Plus. Appreciate you and all those that are subscribing and liking and supporting this channel. We can see that it's growing very slowly, but it's growing, and we certainly do appreciate you for helping to make that happen. So I want to jump on here real quick. We always get this question a lot is, at what point in my self-employment do I set up an entity? When do I incorporate? When do I take my business to the next step? And so I want to jump on here. This is a good topic. So this may require a couple different videos to come, but I wanted to just do one real quick just to give you the basics on when do I do an entity, okay? So if you're self-employed and you have started doing something that you like to do and found that you can make money at it, chances are you are a sole proprietor, okay? And a sole proprietor is basically where you go to your locality and you probably pay anywhere from $30 to $50 and you get a business license, and I mean, bam, you are in business. It's just that simple. And the good news is, it's very simple, it's very cheap to get started, to be self-employed. The bad news is there's also a lot of liability with that, okay? So particularly if you're doing a type of work that could create a lawsuit, could create some liability. And anymore these days, there's just too many people that are lawsuit happy, and almost any line of work now in self-employment could be subject to a lawsuit anymore, sadly. So with the sole proprietor, everything along with your business is tied back to you, the individual, your social security number, your assets, everything that you own, okay? So if a lawsuit happens and you get sued, you can bet anything tied to your social, homes, cars, IRAs, savings, investment accounts, mutual funds, all sorts of things tied to your social security number are going to be fair game. And there's always that concern when you go into business for yourself and you're a sole proprietor. So what do? This is where this question comes in, is when do I form an entity? So when can get confusing, but we'll try to give you, before I get to when, let's just try to cover a couple of points as to why. What are the benefits of forming an entity, okay? So the first one obviously is the liability protection. Just like what the sole proprietor does not cover, an entity will. An entity will provide you some liability protection. And basically what I mean by that is, if I'm sitting in a room with a sole proprietor and they say, hey, I want to incorporate now, I've been doing good with my landscaping business or my shoe sales business or my music business, and I want to incorporate, what I tell them is, that's great. The entity essentially takes on the third person in the room, because an entity it's its own living, breathing, separate entity. It's got its own federal ID number. It's going to have its own address. It's going to have its own insurance. It literally is like the third person in the room. And the good news is that removes you. Now, you may own it, and it may not even run without you, but that's okay. The entity is what is conducting the business. It owns the assets. The insurance is in its name, not you. So that's where that liability protection comes in. And a good lawyer is going to sue the assets of the corporation, which is fine, better off than your personal stuff. So that's where an entity can come in and give you some liability protection. The other one too is tax savings. I mean, you can look at unpublished IRS records, and you can talk to old IRS retired agents and even current ones. There's some great tax savings that come through being incorporated, okay? Again, this is probably not the forum to go through those because I just wanted to touch on these real fast. But a corporation, an LLC, an S corporation will give you some tax savings that a sole proprietor may not. And that's always worthwhile, especially if you're filing income taxes and you're in self-employment. You want to make as much money as you can and pad that bottom line. So an entity can help do that. And then finally, this one I need to be careful with because I've called it audit protection. Maybe not the best word, because I don't want you to think an entity will give you a safe harbor from an audit, but the statistics just very clearly show that sole proprietors are going to be audited or examined much more frequently than an entity. An entity kind of has that instant credibility. Doesn't mean that you can't do something wrong, and the IRS may not want to take a look at that. But just percentages in general, audit and exam percentages in general, Schedule C sole proprietors are going to get selected much, much more often than an entity will, okay? Again, not a guarantee, but it will provide you some audit protection or defense against an audit or examination. So those are the main points. Again, I'm gonna follow up this with another video to kind of go into detail a little bit further, but just wanted to jump on here real quick and answer the question, why or when should I do an entity? Again, tax savings, liability protection, and very loosely with some asterisks and quotation marks, some audit protection, okay? So I'll follow up more in another video. If there's questions, hit me up down in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. You can find us on the web at paychecks-plus.com or on YouTube and Facebook at Paychecks Plus. So until then, we'll see ya. Talk to you soon.